Hello everyone and welcome to my YouTube channel. In this video, I'll be doing an introduction based on the C++ programming language. So I'm planning on dividing this video into two sections. The first part will be the theory side where we will be discussing what is C++, what is it used for, and what kind of applications can we build using C++. And then the second part will be the practical side where we will be building our first C++ console application together. What is C++? C++ is a high-level, general-purpose, and object-oriented programming language. What do we mean when we say it is a high level? It means that its compile time and execution time is faster than any other programs, and it is an advanced language. And then what do we mean when we talk about OOP language? OOP language is about creating objects that contain both data and functions, but we will get deeper into that as we move with the course. What is C++ used for? As we have just said on our definition, that C++ is a general purpose language, which means it is used to create all types of programs, e.g. it can be games, operational system, or browsers, and many other applications. And C++ is a compiled language. What does that mean? It means that the code that you input has to be processed or translated into a code that our machine can understand. Compiling simply means that it is the process of translating your C++ source code into an executable program. Another thing that you should note about C++ it is that it's case sensitive, which means that C++ distinguishes between uppercase and lowercase letters, and it considers them to be different. I've made an example here that my function with an uppercase f is not equals to my function with a lowercase f. So what is a source code? A source code is a text listing of commands to be compiled. A source code is what you import, is what you write, it is the language that you understand, and it needs to be compiled into a language that the machine can understand. And then an algorithm is the steps that you write to your computer to solve a problem. But we will look at more of that on the practical side. So here I've input a snippet of what a source code can look like using the C++ language. If you can understand what this means, please do write on the comment section on what you think this program does or what it means. So you will have something looking like this on your practical side. We have hashtag include IOStream, and that is a header file that provides basic input and output services for C++ programs. And then you will have something that says int main, which indicates that this is our main function. Where we write our source code, it's our main function. Whatever that is written on the source code, it's what has to be executed, and it's what has to be compiled into a language that the machine can understand, and the machine understand binary numbers, which are ones and zeros. And then our code that we have input on our main function will be executed, and then we will get an output. So I hope that you guys now understand what is C++, what is it used for, and what kind of applications can we build using C++. Now we are going to hop on our practical side, which is our second section. So let's get to it. Okay guys, so now we are on the practical side, which is the second part of the video, where we will be demonstrating everything we discussed on the first part practically. So the first thing that we are going to do is to to create a new folder. So you are going to right click on your PC and then go to new folder, and then we can rename this folder to my first program. So the reason why we are creating this folder is because we are going to put our applications files inside this folder. You can also create it on your documents or wherever where you feel like you want to create it, but I prefer creating it on my desktop because it's easier to find it. Then the second part, we are going to open our application, which is Embarcadero Dev C++. If you do not have it, or if you do not know how to install it and you want to know how to, please note that I have dropped a link on my description, so you can go check it out, watch that video, and then come back to this second part of this video. Okay, so this is our integrated development environment. This is where we are going to build our project. So here, where I am busy moving my cursor in this space, this is where my previous projects will be displayed. If I want to continue editing this one, I'll just double click on it or double tap on it. And then if I had 5 other previous projects that I was working on, their files will be displayed in this icon here that looks as if it's a empty page or empty file, and click on it. And if I want to create a source file that has no structure, no nothing, then I just click on it. I click on the source file and it's gonna take me to a blank file that I will be able to edit. But then let's say I'm looking for something that has a structure already, for a file that has a structure already, I will just click there, go to project, and then choose which application I want to work with. In our case, we are going to work with console application, and here it's the languages that this dev C++ uses, but we are going to choose the C++ programming language because that's the language we are going to use throughout the course and not the C language. And we can make our C++ language a default language. So here it's where we can save or rename our file. I am going to rename this file to my first project, or you can rename it to first project or first program. And I'm going to click on OK. When I click on OK, it's going to take me to my folders where I have to save it, and I navigate. I am going to save it on the folder that we have opened on our desktop, and I'll click save. So this is what comes up. I hope you guys realize the structure. We have spoke up a bit about it on our first part of this video. And then here we have different icons. We have already spoken about these 2 icons. Here we have a save icon, which you can only save 1 file at a time. Like me, I'm working on 1 file, so I can definitely click it and save it. This icon here is used to save multiple files. Let's say I'm working on a bigger project that requires me to have 5 files or 10 files that are open here and that I'm editing at the same time, and I want to save them all at a go. I'll definitely click this one here, but because right now I'm working on a 1 file, I'll just click here and save this file. Go to desktop where I've opened my folder and just save it here. You can change your file name here. This one is important if you're working with multiple files at the same time, so that you are able to distinguish which file is which. So since I'm working with 1 file, I'll just leave it as it is. And then this icon here is used to close your file that you're working on, a single file that you're working on. This one is used to close all your files. This is a print. This one here, it's a find icon. It helps you to find a certain or a specific word. Let's say you are working with a project that has 200 or 2000 lines of code and you are looking for a certain name. So you can't keep on scrolling on those code, reading each line of code. You can just come here and write the name that you want and then say find. It's gonna go and highlight that name. This one here is replace. How does replace work? Replace works if you want to change a certain name or a certain variable name and you can't go to each line of code and keep on changing manually. You just come here and you write the name that you want to replace. In my case, I will use return. You write that name and you also write a new name. Under replace with, you write the new name and then you just go to replace. And as you can see here, change has been made from return to change. So that's how this replace works. This one helps you to be able to find the line of code that you want. Let's say I'm working on a project that has 5,000 lines of code. I can't keep scrolling up because I am wasting those seconds. So if I want to find that line, that last line, I'll definitely come here and type the number of that line and say OK, and my program will take me there automatically. This is undo, this is redo, this is if you want to add a project, this is if you want to remove a project. This is for compiling. Remember, we spoke about compiling on the first session. We said that compiling is the process of translating C++ source code into a code that our machine can understand. And this is run. This is compile and run. And if I do not want to use these icons here, I can definitely use these ones here. Execute, that is when I find compile and run, and you can explore the other icons yourself just to be familiar with how this whole console application works. Okay, we have said on our first session that this here, it is our main function, and this one here, it is our header file of input output streams, and then this one here, it is our comment. So these signs here or these symbols are used when you are writing a long comment. You are going to open it with this symbol here, which is a / and a star, and then close your comment with a star and a /. Okay, so let's get to it. Let's write our first line of code. What we are going to do is say std and then cout or console output and then hello world, with this sign here. So this is a line of code that should execute, and when it executes, it should show us hello world. So this here, it is a namespace. It identifies or it tells the program how to identify this cout. So it is important that you have it, but if you do not want to use it, I will show you a way as we go on how to do that. This right here, it is our namespace that tells our program how to identify this cout. And then this right here, our backward / and n, it is used as a line break. It says that after executing this line of code, whatever that follows after, it should be executed on another line, not on the same line as this one. And if you want to minimize your code, you will come here. This is how you minimize it. Let's say you're dealing with lots of functions and you just want to focus on one function. You can minimize your other functions and if you want to expand it, you just also click them. And then now let's try to execute our code. Remember what we said. We said that before you execute your code, it must first be compiled. If you do not compile your code won't run. So you can compile it here. You can come to execute. Here's compile, here's run, or you can compile and run at the same time, or you just come to these icons here. You choose which route you want to take. I will come to execute and compile and run at the same time. So here it is, hello world. Okay, so now let's add two other lines of code so that I can demonstrate the line break thing. Let's say my name is Joy, and then just put a semicolon here. Then take this one, copy it, come back to paste it here, and say my surname is Will, Joy Will. Okay, so let's run our application. Go to execute, compile, and run. Okay, this is what I wanted to show you guys. So we have hello world, and then it goes to another line to write my name is Joy, and then on that same line again it writes my surname is Will. So this shows you guys the importance of using line breaks. If you do not want to use this backward slash n, you can definitely use this one, and L, which is end line std. So let's run our code. Let's close this one first. Let's run our code and see what happens now. Compile and run. So you see now our program is readable. It's hello world, my name is Joy, my surname is Will on another line. So this is perfect. So I did say that I will show you guys how to remove this std because it's starting to become boring to write it over and over again. And for you to remove this, you can just go on your global space and write using namespace std, put your semicolon, and you can remove these ones. You can remove this many stds now. So let's execute and see if it still runs the same way. It is still running the same way. So another thing that I wanted to show you guys is the importance of this semicolon. So if you can take a guess, when we remove this semicolon, what will happen? You can just pause the video and write your answer on the comment section so that I can read it and see if you guys are understanding what's going on. So if you can take a guess, why do we have to put the semicolon? Okay, so let's see what will happen if we didn't put this semicolon here. Let's also remove this one and try to compile and run our code. We are getting a compile time error. Compile time error means that your program picked up some errors when it was trying to translate the code into a code that the machine can understand. So let's see what it says. Line 11, it says that it expected a semicolon before the cout, and line 13, it also expected a semicolon before the return. So let's put back our semicolon, and try to run it this time. This is it. It is now running. So guys, you should know that it is very much important for you to put your semicolons. So if you're using Visual Studio, I want to show you something. If you're using Visual Studio, um, when you try to run your code, it will just blink. Your program will just blink. It will run, but you will not be able to read whatever that was executed. And the reason for that is because you didn't tell your program to pause after execution so that you can be able to read. To solve that problem, you have to put system pause. When you put the system pause, it will help so that you are able to read whatever that was executed by your program. This applies if you are using Visual Studio. Let me write this comment. This applies to people using Visual Studio. But for us who are using Embarcadero Dev C++, it just happens automatically. So it's something that we do not have to worry about. Okay guys, that will be all for this video. Thank you so much for tuning in. Please do not forget to like and subscribe. Bye.